Is alt season ever coming? Every single week I see people saying alt season starts next week. Every dip is the last chance to buy. It's exhausting. The truth is, nobody actually knows when alt season is coming, or if it's coming in the way that you remember. That's the truth. Anyone who tells you they know for sure, they're either lying, delusional, or trying to sell you something. But there are some things we do know for sure. Things the data is screaming at us. Like the fact the 4-year cycle, it's dead. At least for alts. And blindly following it is a trap. And that almost none of the alt season triggers have happened yet, but some are close. All of that is precisely what we're breaking down today. So if you're tired of the hopium and promises that alt season starts next week, smash that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. This video is for informational purposes only. Crypto assets are high risk and are not suitable for all retail investors. This video is not intended for a UK audience. Let's just be honest. The 4-year Bitcoin cycle is dead. It's over. And if you disagree, drop a comment below. I would love to hear an argument as to why I'm wrong. The biggest problem this cycle is that everyone walked in with the old map, expecting history to repeat, move for move. And in the process, we ignored every single signal that the game had changed. When Bitcoin smashed its all-time high before the halving, something it had never done before, we said, nah, the cycle's fine. When Bitcoin started grinding up slowly like a stock instead of exploding vertically, we said, it's just consolidating. I've been screaming this for months now. The cycle's dead. Do you finally believe me? If you don't, here's one thing that is absolutely undeniably true. Maybe you can argue that the Bitcoin cycle is kind of still alive, but nobody can tell me that the 4-year altcoin cycle is alive. That is dead. Alts used to pump with Bitcoin. They were supposed to be the high beta play. But now, Bitcoin moves, alts barely flinch. Bitcoin dips, they collapse. The normal alt season cycle is dead. Now, that doesn't mean alt season is dead. It just means that it's operating on its own new calendar. But why? Why is this time so different? Look, we all know the basics by now. I don't want to bore you, but real quick for the new people in the back. Institutions are here. BlackRock, Fidelity, ETFs are holding over 7% of all Bitcoin. They don't care about a 4-year halving schedule. They move on quarterly reports, Federal Reserve meetings, and global liquidity. And because of them, crypto now moves more like the stock market. It's not perfectly in sync. Last week we saw some manipulation that broke correlation. Hey, that rhymes. Anyway, it's not perfectly correlated, but the correlation is stronger than ever, which potentially means longer, more drawn out bull runs, but hopefully longer, but less brutal bear markets. The whole rhythm has changed, but that's Bitcoin. BlackRock isn't buying your meme coins, so this still doesn't explain why shitcoin alts are dead. So why are they getting crushed? Because retail isn't here in big numbers. They don't have the disposable income, and frankly, they aren't that bothered with crypto right now. After the FTX collapse, the lunar implosion, and the endless scams, can you blame them? Many of them think crypto is a rigged casino, and they're not entirely wrong. But even if they wanted to gamble, they're broke. Credit card debt is at record highs. Inflation has chewed through their savings. Look, let's be honest. We all know that the government's claims about inflation are a lie. My grocery bill has gone up 100% in the last 2 years, but they say inflation is up 3%. They make those numbers up. When it comes between dinner coin and dino coin, most people would rather eat. And before you say, but what about institutions? Yeah, they're here, but they get rich by playing games with retail. If retail isn't buying alts, there's no exit liquidity, there's no one to dump on, and that's why they're sticking to manipulating large caps like Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, etc. That's where the volume and the marks are. The real driver of every face-melting alt season has always been a tidal wave of retail liquidity, and that money won't come back until the Federal Reserve opens the floodgates.